And now on Nights with Steve Price, media, marketing and advertising with Paul Gardner.
Nice song.
Oh, it's nearly springtime. Love is in the air. Of this particular case for tonight, love is on the X. We're talking about online dating and how do you market love online?
Who sang that?
The Turtles.
How good was that? Is that the 60s?
Yeah, great song.
I know I'm showing my age, but I mean, really, seriously.
Well, you would only be a little kid. You've been 3 or 4 in the 60s.
I wish. That's a great song, though. Can I just thank you for your great hospitality at your wonderful hotel that you own in Melbourne last Friday? Now, I'm not giving this a plug, folks, because Paul gave me a free lunch because he didn't. I paid, but
I did offer, I think.
You did, but I said no. It's called The Fringe.
It is.
But the interesting thing about your pub, and we'll get on to dating in a moment, because the best place, I presume, to meet a future Mrs. Gardner or Mrs. Price would be in a pub, wouldn't it?
Well, you would have thought in the old
anyway,
days.
Your pub. It's the oldest pub in Melbourne.
The oldest pub in 1848, yeah.
What was it called when it was opened in 1848?
It was called Oddfellows.
That's very appropriate.
Well, it was actually originally a place, just to digress for a minute, it was actually a boarding house for when they came from interstate. But, of course, during the Eureka Stockade, you weren't allowed to gather in groups because it was short of sedition, I guess. And so they had to, the only way you could gather in a group was if it was a pub. So this bunch of Racobites decided to turn into a public house.
Well, it was great. The food was wonderful. Those pizzas you were serving there looked brilliant, but I had something else. The food was really nice. So well done. It's a great spot.
Thank you.
Now, we're going to talk about online dating tonight. How would they have found partners in 1848?
I think you just woke up one day and there's a man staring at you who your father had sold you to, and that was kind of the end of it.
So we've got in the studio with us Nicole Goodman, who is, in your description of her, Paul, not mine, an online dating expert. Nicole, how are you?
I'm very good. How are you, Steve?
How do you become an online dating expert?
You date for a very long time, Steve.
Okay.
Sometimes successfully and sometimes not so successfully.
Correct. That's right. Varying degrees of success and failure.
Who else but a person with a surname Goodman would be an online dating expert? But of course, Nicole's got a new site which people can look at if they want it themselves, which is Dating Upside Down on Twitter. So
Nicole, take us back to your first foray into online dating. Now, you're dealing here with two men, one in his early 60s and one in his late 50s.
Sure.
Who haven't lied about their age.
Never lie about my age.
You'd be in the minority because most men do online dating. No, that's not true.
Never lie about our ages,
No.
and neither of us, I don't think, I'm speaking for myself, Paul can cut in if he have ever resorted or had to use or felt the need to use online dating sites. Is that right, Paul?
That's right. Yes, I've never used an online dating site, but you'd be surprised, Steve, about the number of people who have.
Huge, isn't it? So, Nicole, when did you first log in?
Look, it was probably about 10, 15 years ago. It's been a while, and obviously because I am slightly younger than your good selves, the technology has kind of hit me at the right age. So I was primed for it, and when you're looking for opportunities, why not try something new?
So do you feel more comfortable attempting to find a partner online than the traditional? Well, it was traditional, obviously not anymore, in the 70s and 80s even, where you went out to a social event and tried to find someone?
I do, and actually more so now because the stigma of online dating seems to have dissipated, or it is dissipating. The more prolific it's becoming in the market, the more people are using it and the more success people are having. So I'm quite comfortable using it, and I actually I enjoy it in the sense that it means that I don't have to, I'm a busy person. I don't have time to continue to go out to bars and clubs and pubs and so on. So it gives me another avenue to meet new people.
Nicole, one of the interesting things when you look up the stats is that 20% of people who are in a committed relationship now say they've met online.
Absolutely.
That's worldwide. 20%. It's a worldwide stat.
Yeah.
20%.
Yeah.
And when you look at the turnover from an economic point of view, over $1.7 billion in revenue for online dating sites, and the average spend per customer $249, and 47% are female and 52% are male. I would have thought it'd be the other way around. I would have thought it'd be harder for a girl to find a guy than a guy to find a girl.
No, I think across the dating sites, it's a pretty even split. So you'll see about 50-50 men and women.
So we're not talking about Tinder here, are we? Let's just get that clear.
Well,
Are we?
but Tinder's interesting.
I only know about Tinder, by the way. Just make this very clear, Nicole. My work with younger people on the project, I have been exposed to some discussion of Tinder. So that's the only reason I know that there is an app on your phone where you can someone can bob
You've
up
convinced me. You've convinced me.
flick left or flick right. So are we talking Tinder? Is that part of the
sorts.
general online dating?
Tinder's interesting because it's almost a phenomenon in itself. I think you'll find just over half of the majority of people are in the 18 to 24 bracket on Tinder. And interestingly, Steve, 30%, well, the stats say 30% of people are actually married who are on Tinder, and 12% are in a relationship. So it's interesting.
So that's a cheating device.
Well, yeah, I mean, you come across a lot of profiles, and people are actually upfront, and they'll say, "Me and my wife are looking for a third person," and but sometimes people aren't upfront, and you find out afterwards, or in conversation that they're married or whatever it might be. But
well, let's go back to the more traditional dating sites. And Paul raised the question of cost there. That's something I hadn't thought of. You actually got to pay to do this.
You do. So it's an investment, and it's how you want to approach it for yourself. So at the moment, for me, I'm using a number of dating sites, but I'm not paying, I don't think, for the majority of them. I have been in phases where I've outlaid significant amounts of money. And it's all about frame of mind. I was at one point very, very keen to try and meet someone, and I just threw everything at it. Signed up for 12 months to RSVP and eHarmony and you name it, and was willing to pay to meet the right guy.
Nicole, the interesting thing for me.
Well, at that point in time, I did actually meet someone just...
I hope I'm not being fooled.
No, not at all, not at all.
We've got an expert here, Steve.
Exactly.
Ask all the questions.
I did actually meet someone just as my RSVP profile was about to expire, or my subscription was about to expire. I met someone who turned out to be my ex.
So as you get to near the end of your subscription... You said I could ask anything.
You can.
Do your standards drop?
You just change the qualifier. I'll bet you the first thing that changes is the age of a potential partner.
Sorry, I mean, it's the obvious question.
It's a fair question. No. But what actually was happening was I was getting frustrated because I wasn't seeing the kinds of people that I'd want to go on a date with, at least. And then just towards the end, I got a great email from someone who turned out to be my ex. And that turned into a relationship. So so my point there is I was glad that I had invested the time, had invested the money. Otherwise, I wouldn't have met a great guy.
John Smith, we'll call him.
We'll call him John Smith.
Now, the interesting thing, the evolution to, and we started at the very beginning, you have a broad one like an eHarmony and RSVP when I talked to them, or Match.com. But now there are so many specifics. There's one, there's JDate, which is a Jewish dating site. There's a Christian singles dating site. There's Grindr, which is a gay dating site. I mean, it's starting to segment in its own life, isn't it?
Absolutely. There's a dating site for almost any lifestyle, any kind of person, any religion, and I think it's fantastic because it just allows anyone the opportunity to actually find love, to go out there, connect, and be with someone that they ultimately want to be with. Now, again, this is not
about me, but is there a site for older folk?
There is.
There is,
yeah.
and
Really?
I don't actually. To be honest, Steve, I don't know of those particular elderly of those sites. But what I will say, elderly. What I will say is, amongst most of the traditional online dating sites that exist, there is a proportion that is in the 50+ bracket. Absolutely.
My favourite one, my favourite name, not my favourite site, 'cause I haven't been to a site. My favourite name is Plenty of Fish.
Yes.
Now tell me about Plenty of Fish.
What do you mean you haven't been to one?
How
would you know about it if you didn't been to it?
Well, I'm looking at it now. Look at the notes I've prepared earlier. Plenty of Fish. Now, Plenty of Fish is a great name. And from a marketing point of view, you'd look at that, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Does Plenty of Fish have Plenty of Fish?
There are Plenty of Fish on Plenty of Fish. What I find with Plenty of Fish is when I first started using it, it almost seemed like a bit of tradies for the ladies. There were a lot of blue collar,
Okay.
down home, rustic kind
So
of guys.
we're talking European carp rather than barramundi.
Now, Nicole, we're going to get you to
Perhaps.
stay around when we get Renee Dowling up from RSVP. We're going to
Great.
talk to her in a moment. But can I just ask you, when you decide to connect with someone from an online dating site and you go and physically meet them, has there been moments when you've walked in and gone, that looks nothing like the person I thought I was
Looks
coming
like
to see?
Steve Price. What is he doing here?
Run the other way. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
So people lie online. You said that
People
before.
lie online,
But-
and the stats do show that men do lie about their age, their height, and their income. Women will tend to lie about their age, their weight, and their physical attributes. Yeah.
We're in a
Yeah.
good space here. We've got Nicole Goodman with us, online dating expert. What's your website again?
Not a website at the moment. It's a Twitter page
Twitter
right
page?
now. A website to come. It's Dating Upside Down.
Look that up, folks. Nicole, stay with us. Paul, stay with us. We'll be back after this.
You're listening to the Media, Marketing and Advertising Show with Steve Price and Paul Gardner, right across Australia.
Indeed you are. We're talking online dating, and I suppose, Paul, if I put my profile up, I'd boost up my age, lower my weight.
You'd boost up your age.
No, boost up my height.
I was going to say.
I'll cut the age
I'm only
back.
62, but I'm really going to say I'm 78.
Yes, thanks. Renee Dowling is the brand partnerships and event manager at RSVP Dating, the dating brand. She's online. Renee, g'day.
Hi, Steve. How you going?
I'm good, thank you. This business has exploded.
It certainly has. It certainly has, especially in the last 2 years in particular. It's been around for quite a while. RSVP has been around for about 19 years now, but certainly in the last about 2 to 3 years, we've really seen a big growth in the market.
Now, Nicole, RSVP, as I understand, is Australia's number one dating site, about 2 million members. Is that about right?
Yeah, it's certainly the biggest, and it's also been ranked as the most trusted in the market as well.
When
How
you
do
look
you-
at
Sorry,
sorry,
Paul, go on.
you look at the breakdown of the people involved. I'd say that 26 to 40-year-olds represent nearly half your market, and 41 to 60 about a bit over a third of your market. I mean, that's a good spread, isn't it? 26 to 60. Are you surprised by that? Is that
Sounds like
different
the
to other sites?
demographics of my radio show, Paul.
Oh, well, that's perfect then. Look, no, that's not surprising at all to us. We do sit in a really interesting space in that we do cater to quite a segmented audience, particularly, I mean, looking at that as demographics, but in terms of what people are looking for in a relationship as well. So it's not surprising at all. We get about 1,200 new people sign up every day.
Every day. Wow.
Yeah, it's
Gee.
extraordinary. So it makes sense that they're going to be coming from quite a diverse range of backgrounds and interests.
Nicole, you've been an RSVP customer?
I have. And it's actually been one of my consistent go-to sites, and it's where I found my last partner. And
It's good news for you, Renee.
yeah, well, it's just the way it's been. This is not a plug necessarily. It is just the way it was, and I get a really strong sense about long-term relationship value out of RSVP. So yeah, it's kind of it's in the stable.
That's great to hear. You use the word trust, Renee. How do you build that in your brand?
Yeah, look, that's something that we've spent a really long time building that, and I think some of that comes over time as well. We do spend an extraordinary amount of time, working on different elements of the site to make sure that we are protecting our members and that we are working with them to make sure they're getting the best out of the site. And I think, the proof is in the pudding there in terms of the best sort of marketing strategy that we can hope for is positive word of mouth, like Nicole. So people having positive experiences out of the site has certainly built the trust and equity in the brand.
Well, the
over
good news, Renee, is Nicole is no longer with her partner, so there's two. So you've got two more additions back on RSVP.
It didn't quite
business.
work. If you could fix that, Renee, that'd be great.
Renee,
I'll
one
try
of
my
the
hardest.
when I look at the marketing tools, and obviously the latest television campaign you use, you took a completely different tack here, didn't you? This wasn't like sort of a roll the lovey music, up pop over shots of hearts yachts and swans swimming in lakes. I mean, you actually went out a bit differently. Now, when you have that many people, why did you decide down that track? Why did you decide to be so different?
Yeah, look, I mean, that campaign is just about to have its second iteration roll out very shortly in the next month. So it was extremely successful for us. It's Find a Keeper is the core promise of that campaign, and it really focuses on our positioning in the market that we are about, helping people to find relationships and find dates that lead to a second date and a third date and hopefully a bit longer as well. So we're certainly not in the space where we're looking at one night stands and hookups and that.
Leave that
to
culture. Tinder, eh, Renee?
Oh, look, there are a lot of really interesting apps on the market.
Yes, Paul went through a few of them. I don't think we'll do it again. I note in your title, event manager. So RSVP holds events for its clients, I gather.
We do. We actually we have a sort of a range of different products that we have within RSVP that basically we're looking at sort of broadening that product offering. So we have travel, we have events, we have different things like personality profiling. One of the things that we started recently, actually in the last 6 months, was a content hub, which I know quite a few major brands outside of the dating market have started to go down this path as well. But for us, it was very much about creating a site called datehub.com.au and making sure that it's got really, I guess, value-add information for our members and people outside of our base that happen to be dating as well about dating and finding a date and different stages of your relationship, putting up some really relevant advice and content there.
So Nicole first and then to you, Renee, as we wrap up. Are the days of finding true love in the front bar of a pub over?
No, I don't think they're over. I think every avenue is an opportunity. Every time you step out of your house is an opportunity. So it's not all online is where the only place that you'll find love. But it's certainly a huge help. And
so I can still go to the front bar, but just have my phone with me, right?
Well, that's the thing, is that everyone's standing at the bar looking at their phone.
And the mobile is really 50% of RSVP traffic. I understand, Renee, is now on mobile.
Yeah, that's correct. That's absolutely right. And I think the big thing for us is that we've got to remember, online dating, it doesn't exist in a vacuum. We tend to think of it as really multi-channel dating, that people may meet somebody at a bar or they may meet someone at a barbecue or at work. It's just sort of another tool.
I wonder if two RSVP clients have worked at the same place, have met each other on RSVP and then suddenly worked out that they both work at the same building.
I'm sure it's probably happened. We get a lot of success stories, which is one of the really nice parts of the job, is hearing about people who have met and gone on to have really great relationships and families and all sorts of things. So I'm sure it has happened at some point.
Well, it's a great conversation in an area I had absolutely no knowledge of. Renee, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you very much for having me.
And Nicole.
Yes.
Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. That was fascinating.
Thanks, Steve. Yeah, we'll follow Nicole with great interest and
we
make
might
sure.
put up on our website a sort of a running summary of how Nicole's going.
And we can have likes or dislikes. Yeah, that'll work.
No.
Now, trust me, she's a very, very pleasant girl and a very lovely girl, so I'm sure she'll have not much trouble.
Good on you. Thanks,
Thank you,
everybody.
guys.